SEC football, your first look. Max, Trevor, breaking down the season, the big matchups, the rivalries. Your SEC preview show starts now.
They say it just means more. It's the conference with the most championships since the turn of the century and starts this season with 10 teams ranked in the top 25, including the #1 team in the nation. It's Roll Tide and War Eagle. It's Hook'em and Boomer Sooner. It's the SEC. Hello and welcome to the SEC Preview Show. I'm Max Cohan and he's Trevor Denton. When you think of SEC dominance since 2000, teams like Georgia, Florida, and LSU may come to mind, but you can't tell the story of college football without the Nick Saban era at Alabama with 6 national titles since 2009.
But as we know, Coach Saban out of the game, and there are some new guns in town, including the still recently added Texas Longhorns, a team that currently holds the #1 spot in the AP poll. Over the next 30 minutes, we'll take a look at the Tide and Tigers and then go through the rest of the conference team by team in order of predicted finish.
But first, we'll keep things in the Yellowhammer State. Entering year 2 under Kalen DeBoer, Alabama has been selected to finish 3rd in the SEC, a position that still has them starting the year 8th in the nation. The Tide had fans crimson in the face a number of times last year, especially with massive losses to Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Tennessee, and of course Michigan. Bama was briefly the #1 team in the nation, earning the top spot in the AP poll after a big win over Georgia, but the team couldn't even win one game as top dog, dropping a wild one to the Commodores in Nashville their next time out. Their first stumble in a season that would end with the program falling short of 10 wins for the first time since 2007. Their 9-4 finish, called substandard by DeBoer himself, resulted in the team ending the season 17th in the nation. A number of key pieces left for the NFL, including quarterback Jalen Milroe, offensive lineman Tyler Booker, and star linebacker Jahad Campbell. But the team also made a number of big additions, including Miami transfer Isaiah Horton and offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb, who DeBoer initially hired last year before he left to take a position with the Seattle Seahawks. All of that meant the Tide would have a bit of a different look on offense and no clear answer who the starting quarterback would be.
Ty Simpson, Austin Mack, and Keelan Russell all vied for the starting job in the offseason, but a winner was named just a couple weeks ago. Starting quarterback for the Crimson Tide is one of the most coveted spots in all of college football. Well, now Ty Simpson gets to take over that mantle, and this is something he waited years for.
Yeah, it's a dream come true. You know, I came here out of high school wanting to be the starting quarterback, and I'm just excited, and I can't, thank my teammates enough for making me look good, and I'm ready for the opportunity.
Offensive coordinator Ryan Grubb made the news official with record brevity.
Hey guys, Ty Simpson's our starter. How's that?
But it's been a long and winding road for Simpson to get to this point. He arrived at Alabama as a 5-star in 2022, only to sit behind Bryce Young, then Jalen Milroe for the next 3 years.
I think it's abnormal for sure to, not transfer in today's day and age. But, I don't regret it at all. I love being here. I love my teammates. I love this university. I learned a lot from the guys that played before me, like Bryce and Jalen. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for them, and then the guys behind me, like Keelan and Austin. I think that they pushed me and they elevated my game to a game that it's never seen before.
Grubb agrees Simpson's playing his best ball yet. In the past, he said the quarterback's been too careless with the football. But this fall, the pigskin has barely touched the grass.
Ty didn't throw any picks last week. He's thrown 1 all camp. We've thrown like 4 total this camp. And this spring, I think at this time, we had thrown like 15. So I think in general, the guys are understanding the concepts and control the offense a lot better as a room, and Ty was the best at that.
Grubb also appreciates Simpson's fiery leadership style. Simpson calls himself a gritty dual-threat quarterback who will do whatever it takes to win. There's no getting around this being a monumental moment for him and his family back in Martin, Tennessee.
I think my mom and dad started crying or whatever, so it was surreal. So I called my dad later that night, and then I took a nap. So.
But once he woke up from the dream, it was time to get back to work and do the job of being the starting quarterback for the Crimson Tide.
I feel like I worked my tail off for it, and I'm just excited for the opportunity to go out there with my guys and compete each and every day.
So it's officially Ty Simpson's moment here for the Crimson Tide. We'll get to see him make his debut in Week 1 against Florida State. With coverage you can count on, I'm Trevor Denton, Fox 20 Sports.
So it'll be Simpson starting Saturday against the Seminoles, but we've got some other key games on the schedule. The team's SEC opener against Georgia in Athens on September 27th, when running back Jam Miller is slated to return to action. A November 8th battle with the LSU Tigers in T-Town, and of course, the regular season finale against Auburn this year at Jordan-Hare Stadium on November 29th.
Speaking of the Tigers, let's dive into Hugh Freeze's squad. Last year, they went 5-7, finishing without a winning record for the 4th straight season. The Tigers' offense looked potent in a 70-point season opening win over Alabama A&M, but things fell apart quickly after that. Cal stunned them at home the very next Saturday, and things got so bad that Peyton Thorne was benched in favor of Hank Brown, only for Thorne to eventually retake the job. But it didn't make much of a difference who was behind center. Auburn started conference play with 4 straight losses and only 2 SEC games they won all season, highlighted with an upset of number 15 Texas A&M in a 4-overtime thriller. But after a second straight season with 7 losses, the pressure is on for Coach Freeze. The Tigers lost a number of key pieces in the offseason, including receiver Keandre Lambert-Smith, running back Jarquez Hunter, and defensive stars like Jalen McLeod and Eugene Asante.
Still, you could argue that they've reloaded well, adding Georgia Tech transfer receiver Eric Singleton Jr., Oklahoma transfer quarterback Jackson Arnold, and Tulane defensive back transfer Rayshawn Pleasant. Now, the coach knows that the Auburn standard is something that his team must strive for this season.
We're embracing the highest of expectations. It's time for us to start climbing that mountain and winning some of those games. There's no reason, with the chemistry among our staff, the additions we've added to the roster, the 2 top 10 recruiting classes. You know, would you love to have one more year? Sure, but there is zero reason that our team, Lord willing, we stay healthy. We're expected to compete in every single football game, and we had some difficult breaks last year go against us. So it's our turn this year for them to bounce our way.
And Auburn gets things started against Baylor in Waco on Friday. Now, some other notable matchups this season include their SEC opener against Oklahoma in Norman on September 20th, then the Deep South's oldest rivalry on the Plains on October 11th, and of course the Iron Bowl back at Jordan-Hare on November 29th. The Tigers have not beaten Alabama since 2019. So we've made it through our state's teams, but we've still got a whole lot more to get to.
Coming up after the break, we'll dive into the rest of the conference, starting with the teams predicted to finish at the top. All that and more next.
The SEC Preview Show, brought to you by these local partners.
Start.
For every action, there's a reaction. For every late night check-in, every early morning routine, every episode that you just wish wouldn't end, there are thousands of actions making it all possible. From the little things to the big things, to the couldn't live without them things. There are hardworking people doing everything in their power to power everything you do.
Play to win big at Victoryland Casino, where the hottest, most exciting games are waiting for you. Big bonuses, giant jackpots, and rewards. Keep our guests back for more. Visit our Players Club today and check out this month's exciting free play promotion. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, off I-85 exit 22 in Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
Coming up.
It's either Tawdry, like, it's getting any, or like, did you meet someone, or dating anyone?
Drew gets real about awkward dating talk.
Let's not fool ourselves.
Tomorrow at 9 on Fox 20. Tomorrow at 10 on Fox 20.
Welcome back. They say don't mess with Texas. For decades, SEC teams didn't really have to. But when the Longhorns and Sooners joined the conference last year, everything changed.
Things had not been great in Austin until Steve Sarkisian arrived, and the former Bama assistant coach did something no other coach had been able to do, get the Horns to the college football playoff. Texas won the Big 12 and made the final 14 playoff in 2023, and then finished first in the SEC and reached the semifinal in the first 12-team playoff last year. Now, the Longhorns aren't just favored to win the SEC, they're the #1 team in the nation. The team's starting quarterback may only have 28 total collegiate pass attempts, but his name is Arch Manning, and nothing else seems to matter.
Arch's a great teammate, and he's humble. He's got great work ethic. He's relatable to the guys. And I felt like coming into this year, and I think Arch would be the first one to tell you, one of the more challenging things to do is when you're a great teammate and you're working hard, but you haven't been that frontline guy yet, is how do you take on that authoritative state when you haven't yet done it, right? And what we've had to explain to him was, you've earned it. You know, he's earned it. He's earned the respect of his teammates that way.
The SEC has claimed 3 college football national championships in the 2020s. The most recent team to lift the trophy, Kirby Smart's Georgia Bulldogs, who went back-to-back in 2021 and 22. Now, the Dogs have been one of the sport's most dominant teams under Kirby Smart, with trips to the CFP in 3 of the last 4 seasons. Georgia won the SEC title game over Texas last season, but they lost quarterback Carson Beck in the process. Then they fell to Notre Dame in the Sugar Bowl. Gunnar Stockton will lead the team under center this year, and Coach Smart's squad projected to finish 2nd in the conference as they start the season ranked 5th in the nation. But this will be a much younger team in 2025.
54% of our players are coming into their first or second year. So what do you get with that? You get youthful exuberance. We've had practices that have been spirited. We had a great spring practice that we talked about the words fire, passion, and energy. I think the biggest thing that separates college football teams today is complacency among players versus fire, passion, and energy among players.
We'll see if that fire, passion, and energy can lead the Dogs back to the SEC title.
Alabama is projected to finish 3rd, but we've already spent enough time on Kalen DeBoer's squad, so let's move down to 4th and talk about the Tigers. LSU seemed like a CFP contender for much of last season. That is until they lost 3 straight conference games: Texas A&M, Alabama, and Florida. Brian Kelly's squad finished 9-4 and capped off the season with a bowl win over Baylor. The Tigers start the year ranked 9th in the nation. The team has also returned star quarterback and Heisman hopeful Garrett Nussmeier, who will be the first LSU quarterback to wear number 18 since Matt Mock on the 2003 National Championship squad.
He represents LSU. He represents the state of Louisiana. I mean, he is our guy. I mean, he waited for this opportunity. He loves LSU. And so you want to follow a guy like that because he's got all the things that you're looking for in a player: committed, passionate, focused. He's got leadership ability, and he can whip the ball around the yard when you need to. Now, the thing that he brings to the table, as I've said in many of these settings, experience is the best teacher, and he's got experience, and he's got some adversity that he had to overcome along the way. I will take that kind of quarterback anytime in the SEC, because when you go on the road, when you start with Death Valley, you bring a freshman into Death Valley, you better be ready for the backup to get in there too. That's my point, is that experience and a guy that has the traits that represent LSU is our starting quarterback. How cool is that?
Moving down to the 5-hole, Shane Beamer's South Carolina Gamecocks are a team on the rise. Last year, USC went 9-4, the team's best finish since 2017 under Will Muschamp. The Cox nearly beat Alabama in Tuscaloosa last year, and then in 4 straight SEC games, taking down ranked Texas A&M, Vanderbilt, and Mizzou squads on consecutive Saturdays. And then they nearly knocked Clemson out of the college football playoff in the Palmetto Bowl. Star quarterback Lenora Settles returns to put his name in the Heisman conversation, and the team is at number 13 in the preseason poll.
In this league, if you show you're one of the best teams, which we've beaten so many of the best teams in this league, there's teams that we haven't, but as you continue to recruit and continue to develop, yeah, absolutely, it's attainable, and I wouldn't be here if I didn't think it was, Jordan. I didn't come here to go 7-5 every year. I came to South Carolina to compete for championships, and we're there, and we're continuing to develop and get better as well.
Now, Florida was a team in a similar position to Auburn in the first 2 seasons under Billy Napier. The Gators went 6-7 and 5-7. The coach was firmly on the hot seat last year, but led by quarterback DJ Lagway, they turned things around and finished the year on a tear with 4 straight wins, including wins over LSU and Ole Miss, as they finished 8-5, their best record since 2020. The Gators now enter the season 15th in the country, and Coach Napier knows a good quarterback can only take you so far.
We want to continue to play championship caliber defense. I think that was a big piece of the puzzle relative to our success. I thought we really, from Central Florida on, I thought we played at a high level. We took the ball away. We created havoc, TFLs and sacks, and then I thought we played really good red zone defense. Special teams was an area where we were really, really good last year. We were number 2 in about 3 different composite rankings nationally. And then obviously we need to keep playing complementary football and build around a great a veteran O-line and a really good group of skill to go along with DJ in year 2. So the number one thing that we established last year is that we can go toe-to-toe with anybody. And I think that confidence, that belief, that swagger, kind of get back to Florida football, you know, when you know, they could beat anybody on any given day.
Lane Kiffin may have been unpredictable early in his coaching career, but now he's built a steady winner in Oxford. Ole Miss has reached 10 wins in 3 of his last 4 seasons. They're projected to finish 7th in the SEC this year, entering at number 21 in the AP poll. The Rebels will have to break in new quarterback Austin Simmons this year with Jackson Dart, a first-round pick and a New York Giant now. Ole Miss had flashes of greatness last year, including a win over number 3 Georgia, but the team also lost baffling games to Kentucky and Florida. Those kept them out of the playoffs. Still, the coach feels like they're building a winner.
I think that we just have a really good culture. We have a really good staff that now is together for a second year in a row without losing anybody. That the expectations are set, and it's a little bit like parenting. You know, when you kind of have it nailed versus, okay, we're figuring it out, and there's, you know, different sets of rules from different assistants and stuff. Our players know that this is the way they got to do things, and then when they come in, that's the expectation. I think it helps us that we recruit and coach the same way. We don't, when you come on your recruiting visit, we don't like have all this fluff and all this stuff like around it, like, and then treat you one way, like a lot of programs. And then when you get there, all of a sudden it's like, whoa, this isn't what you were like in recruiting. So kids don't come to us if that's what they're looking for. They understand, like, this is how we are.
Now, they may still be paying his buyout, but the Aggies have moved past the Jimbo Fisher era.
Yeah, Mike Elko enters his 2nd season in charge, and he had Texas A&M in the playoff picture until November last season. It was actually a quadruple overtime loss to Auburn that sent the Aggies spiraling to a 9-4 finish. Texas A&M faces 5 preseason top 15 teams this season, but the expectations remain high in College Station.
Confidence can be a really fickle thing. Every team in America, you know, puts their hand in the air at the beginning of the year and says, I want to win the championship this year, right? And some teams have done the work necessary for them to have a chance to do that, and some haven't. And I think we spent a lot of time on that last offseason, and I think our kids saw, you know, what that could do and what that could potentially lead to. And now I think they've even upped it a little bit, trying to go out and make sure we do what we got to do to finish. And so I think where the confidence comes from is something that really excites me.
After a decade in the coaching wilderness, Tennessee has finally found stability with Josh Heupel. Last season, he beat Alabama for the 2nd time and coached the Vols to their first college football playoff appearance. It should have been a celebratory offseason in Knoxville. Instead, it all got overshadowed by a quarterback controversy. In a sign of the times, Nico Iamaleava held out a spring ball, then left for UCLA. Now the program is just trying to move forward after their loss to Ohio State in the first round of the CFP.
Ultimately, we wanted to coach to play a lot better and get a different result in that football game. And everything that you go through, you learn things from. And for us as a football team, being ready to handle that moment and prepare and play better, coach better. some of the tools and things that we need in our tool belt as well. But ultimately, it comes down to us being better on that night and the lead up to the game.
Oklahoma also dealing with flux at the quarterback spot with Jackson Arnold off to the Plains. Enter John Mateer, an exhilarating dual threat from Washington State. He'll be tasked with helping get Brent Venables off the hot seat after an underwhelming 22-17 start in Norman. The Sooners did still manage to beat Auburn early in the season. Then they totally spoiled Alabama's playoff hopes with a huge win in November.
I think that game against Alabama, it showed a lot of different things to me. It showed what we're capable of when we get out of our way. It showed a team that believed in one another and certainly themselves and their coaches. And it showed a team that showed a lot of guts and toughness to do the really hard stuff, keep dragging yourself off the mat, claw your way back, figure it out, find a way, punch first, punch back, punch last, that type of a mentality. Even when a lot of things aren't going your way.
Oklahoma pays the return trip to Tuscaloosa late in the season on November 15th. Well, we've made it through all the teams with a legit chance to make some noise this season, but we've still got some more squads to get to.
Let's wrap up our SEC preview right after the break.
Play to win big at Victoryland Casino, where the hottest, most exciting games are waiting for you. Big bonuses, giant jackpots, and rewards keep our guests coming back for more. Visit our Player Club today and check out this month's exciting free play promotions. You'll have more fun at Victoryland Casino, where you can be a winner too. Victoryland Casino, off I-85 exit 22 in Shorter, Alabama. Must be 21 or older.
A blink means more than you think. Behind every blink in your power, Alabama Power's outage prevention technology is fast at work, identifying the problem, isolating the area, and rerouting power to your home, all in a blink. That's how you know we're doing everything in our power to power everything you do.
The NFL is back on Fox, and we're ready to rock with the biggest season ever. NFC East rivals kick it off as rising superstar Jaden Daniels leads the Commanders against second-year game-breaker Malik Neighbors and the Giants.
What a catch!
Or CMC and the Niners
McCaffrey scores!
take on the Seahawks.
Wow!
A huge day of football kicks off September 7th on Fox. Check for the game in your area.
Evening, Calvin. I bet you're wondering why I'm in such a good mood.
Nope. Hey, y'all just hating on a man that's in his prime. Could an old man do this?
It's like you always say, when it comes to money, it's not where it's from, it's where it's at.
I don't always say that.
But you're right.
I don't think I've ever said that.
The Neighborhood, weekdays at 5 on Fox 20.
Welcome back. We've made it through the top 10 teams already, and Auburn's number 11, so let's move on to another pair of Tigers. Missouri also playing both Alabama schools this year, and the Tigers deserve as much respect as any opponent.
Yeah, that's right. The Tigers are coming off back-to-back 10-win seasons for the first time in a decade, but they do have to replace mainstays like Brady Cook and Luther Burden, hence their 12th spot in the preseason poll. Vanderbilt was one of the best stories in all of college football last year. The Commodores finally crawled out of the SEC basement and made a bowl game. More importantly, they beat Alabama for maybe the biggest win in school history. They'll have a puncher's chance to bring down some more goalposts this season. Diego Pavia back for a sixth season of college football, ready to build off what they started by beating the Tide.
When it comes down to it, every win was important, and I think that one was because we finally got people to believe kind of in Vanderbilt football.
And so from here on out, obviously we got to win more games to get the things done that we want. So winning solves everything.
The Commodores rematch Alabama October 4th in Tuscaloosa. Then they'll host Auburn in November.
The vibes are awesome in Fayetteville. Hog fans want more out of head coach Sam Pittman, but is the program capable more of the 30-31 record he's given them? That's the question the school will have to tackle in the near future. For now, sit back and enjoy Taylon Green, one of the most exciting quarterbacks in the country. For a while, Mark Stoops seemed to be bulletproof in Lexington. He brought confident football to a basketball town. He even fielded a couple good teams too, but Stoops may have raised expectations too high for his own good, and a 4-8 season last year created a mess on aisle 3 of Kroger Field. Will Big Blue Nation tolerate another year like that?
Speaking of messes, Mississippi State finished 2-10 last year, suffering an embarrassing loss to Toledo. Getting to a bowl game should be considered a big win for Jeff Lebby if he can get that done in his second season in Starkville. The Bulldogs projected to finish dead last in the SEC this year.
So we've made it through all 16 teams. Trevor, I got to ask you, which teams seem like they might be a little out of place in the projected order?
I like Vanderbilt. I've been on record saying I think they're going to have another good year. 13th feels a little too low. Most experienced team in the SEC. You've got Diego Pavia back, Eli Stowers. They're going to be a really, really good team again. Tough out for anybody.
What about any players that you're excited to see on the field this year?
Taylon Green, he's a really exciting. I'm excited to see all these quarterbacks. DJ Lagway back at Florida. The Arch Manning experience begins at Texas. So I'm really excited to see the depth of the quarterback position in the SEC this year.
One of the most interesting teams for sure will be the Auburn Tigers and what they can do with Jackson Arnold. What are you expecting?
Man, that's an interesting team in a lot of ways. Eric Singleton is a speedy receiver they brought in from Georgia Tech. Cam Coleman back. Jackson Arnold was great at running last year. Excited to see what he can do in the pocket, the improvements he's made. I think their season goes as he goes, and we're going to learn a lot about that Auburn team against Baylor. What a tough way to start the season.
You mentioned Diego Pavia. Obviously, he beat both the Tide and Tigers last year. He's got that weird throwing motion, but it seems to work. I know you're excited to see him.
Diego Pavia is an incredible player. So tough to bring down. A wrestler back in high school. You really see that on the tape. One of the most exciting players in the country.
The SEC season always unpredictable, but we cannot wait for the start of it. Stick with us right here on Fox 20 for your coverage all season long.